As Americans return to the skies ahead of Memorial Day weekend and a summer of holidays and reunions impossible only a year ago, there is tension in the air.
People are coming back to the skies, have been away for a while, and maybe have forgotten how cramped the space is or how much time they have to spend with other people in such close proximity.
Seth Miller is editor of PaxX.Aero and closely covers an airline industry contending with stressed customers.
We're seeing load factors in the sort of 80 to 90% range, which was typical of the pre-COVID era, but there's fewer flights, there's more challenges, everybody's just a little bit more on edge.
The federal government still requires the traveling public to wear a mask on planes, buses, trains, and other forms of public transportation. This is a federal mandate.
But how many times did I ask you? We're not going to be getting kicked off.
Pushback over a mask mandate in the skies, if no longer in the streets, has airlines and the FAA taking a stern approach.
If you disrupt a flight with threatening, intimidating, or violent behavior, you'll face a civil penalty from the FAA of up to $35,000.
A number since surpassed when a passenger between Honolulu and Seattle was fined over $50,000 for disrupting the flight and attempting to enter the cockpit.
Airlines can decide that they no longer want you as a customer. They can put you on a no-fly list. They can, if so compelled, decide to take away all your frequent flyer points.
There have been over 1,500 incidents this year alone, but with 1.8 million passengers last Sunday, 90% of the same day 2 years ago, officials are still optimistic.
It's a positive sign that our nation is beginning to recover from this most challenging pandemic.
And another sign that they're beginning to recover, Rob and Marnie, is the fact that last Sunday, Alejandro Mayorkas, the Homeland Security Secretary, said that 1.8 million travelers traveled. That's just 90%, or actually as much as 90%, is the same day in 2019. People are back. The planes aren't there. The staff isn't there. And that's what's working on people's nerves.
Well, that's an excellent point. Thank you, Michael. Very disturbing video, to say the least. Wow. Thank you. And with that, I want to bring in Sara Nelson. She's the president of the Association of Flight Attendants, CWA International. Sara, thanks so much for giving us some time. That report that came on just before you is certainly eye-opening. Just from your vantage point, how bad is it right now?
Well, it's incredibly bad. So in a typical year, we might have 130 reports of unruly passengers on our planes. And already, we're not even through 5 months in this year, and we've seen 2,500. So this is something that flight attendants are dealing with every day. People have been taught over the last year and a half that, for example, wearing a mask is a political issue rather than a public health necessity. And we are charged with keeping everyone safe. But we have never seen this level of incidents and hostility on our planes before. One thing I want to make really clear, though, is that the vast majority of people come to the door of our airplane with kindness in their hearts and a desire to get from point A to point B on a safe, uneventful flight. And we really need to lift up those people who just want to follow the rules, follow the regulations, listen to the leaders on board, and do what they need to do so that everyone can safely get there together.
And the amazing stat I read here is since January, just a few months ago, January 1st of this year, the FAA has gotten 2,500 reports of unruly behavior by passengers. I imagine that's way up from years past. And do you think the main driving factor, and Michael kind of alluded to this in his report, is COVID-related stress and opposition to the masks?
Yes, what we're talking about is over 20 times the normal number of reports, and only in 5 months. So as compared with 12 months in another year, already we're 20 times past that typical amount. And most of them are mask related because people have been taught to believe that this is an issue of contention. And the fact of the matter is you can't smoke on a plane. You have to put your seatbelt on. When we tell you to put your seatbelt on, we don't say if you think it's not going to help you, don't bother to put it on. No, we say put your seatbelt on to protect yourself and everyone around you, just like everything else, all of our other safety instructions on board. And the same is true with the masks. So we have people on board who cannot get vaccinated, children. This is in a space where you can't confirm who has been vaccinated and who hasn't. We're still in the middle of this pandemic, and this mask order is in place to keep everyone safe. And we are charged with keeping everyone safe. So you don't have individual rights when you come on a plane. you recognize that you're in this together with everyone else and you have to follow certain rules that you don't have to in other places. And we need people to get the message. I want to be really clear. The FAA is treating this with a zero tolerance policy. So they are going straight to fines and jail time if you are acting out, if you are not complying.
And let me just point out,
certainly if you're assaulting flight attendants.
And let me point out, some of these fines are huge. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars. I saw one fine for over $50,000.
That's right. And, you know, you're going to be in trouble here. This is a federal felony if you are violating this. So you're going to have big problems on the ground once you get off that flight. So just don't do it. Follow the rules. Spread the word that, you know, we really have to look for those helpers on board, who is everyone else who just really wants to get there safely and wants to treat everyone with respect and kindness. And we've got to lift that up and help people understand that if they're not coming with that spirit, then there's going to be consequences.
And some airlines who have a restricted travelers list where you kind of get on the list of this person was unruly and they're not welcome back on Southwest or whatever other airline. That would seem to be, I would hope that would be a deterrent for folks as well.
Absolutely. You're not going to be welcome if you can't just follow the rules and respect everyone else around you.
Gotcha. And one last final question of importance to me. What determines the policy as to whether you get the full can of soda or whether they pour it for you in that little plastic cup with way too many ice cubes?
Well, actually, ironically, during coronavirus, you're probably getting that can, because what we're trying to do is cut down on the amount of times that we're connecting with you and opening up and touching things. So you're probably going to get that full can.
Exactly the answer I was hoping for. No, Sarah, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And I hope for you and your colleagues who have been working all the way through this incredibly tough year, thank you for that. And I hope things get safer and calmer and more sane 35,000 feet up. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for having us on. Thanks.
My pleasure.
Full can of soda.